Welcome to Pitch to Pod with WSL legends Nikita, Liverpool Citizen of Honour, Parris. We've not congratulated you on that yet. Well done, Nikita. And
Thank you.
Jordan, always an honour, Nobbs. Together with, this week, for 1 week only, she has an honorary fellowship from Aberystwyth University. So you can probably say that better at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's Jess Fishlock. Woohoo! Welsh legend, Jess Aberystwyth University. Did you get a certificate? Did you have to wear a gown? Was there a gong?
Yeah, I did all of that. I have a certificate and I had to wear a gown and a hat. And actually, I did a speech where some of it had to be in Welsh because at the time I was doing this TV program about like learning Welsh, basically. So not only did I have to do a speech, which is terrifying enough, I had to do like bits of it in Welsh that I'd only started learning like 4 days prior, and Welsh is not the easiest language in the world. So it was a very stressful day, I'm not gonna lie.
It's the longest language.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just sounds really. So that's difficult. It's all how you pronounce it, which is tough.
Well, we're not going to grill you on Welsh. I mean, we might. Nikita, what did you get for your honorary citizen of Liverpool?
I just get like a certificate. My sister had to pick it up for me because I wasn't there. I was all the way in Brighton. But you know what I would have rather actually on that? A free parking space in Liverpool anywhere where I don't have to pay. No, for real.
Greedy.
No, I don't want a key to the city. I don't want but a parking space, that would have been lovely.
I kind of get it, honestly.
Hey-ho.
I do understand that.
I hate parking in Liverpool. It's so small, so there's not many spaces anyway. Car parks are an absolute fortune.
Yeah.
So I just thought, you know what? Free parking space, I'll take that.
Well, you can't talk to Jess about that. I bet parking in Seattle is expensive. Don't they do that thing where they like someone holds a parking space, or is Seattle all right?
Yeah, I mean, downtown too is like, it's not much street parking anyway, but it's all garages and things like that, and they are extortionate. Yeah, it's funny because I'm someone that is just like, just get me in one of these parking spaces. Like, I'm not gonna you have people that like drive around for like 20 minutes. That's my wife. Like, so we're in the car just like going at it. I'm like, will you just park in the garage? Like, I'll pay for it. And she's like, no, I'm not doing that. We're going to be going around here for like half an hour to find a space that won't exist. And I'm just like, and then eventually we park in the garage half an hour later. That's how it goes. But yeah, it's extortionate.
Pick a mix and parking. That's basically the level of the podcast that you're just being introduced to. So it's lovely to have you on. We are going to talk Wales, we'll talk Seattle, and also in the latest in our new series of creating the perfect footballer for this season, we'll decide who's the midfielder of the season so far, here in the WSL at least. We know who it is where you are, Jess. Don't worry. Jordan, Nikita, like all three of you met, I take it. How do you know each other? How do you know each other? Through football. Memories of each other?
I think we've only played against each other, so I
think
memories
so.
will be too fond.
Jess is ultra competitive. I remember as like a little 18-year-old when you was playing for Bristol. And I was like, fair play. She puts in a challenge all over the pitch. Engine, to be fair. But can finish too, so it's not bad. Not bad.
Yeah. I don't know, I guess I just remember whenever I have faced you guys have always been like big players for your team, so you're always like scouting you and trying to keep up with Jordan more than anything in the midfield was always
Ross.
always tough. I was like,
I'm dying out now, Jess. Don't
I
worry.
was like, can you
The
just
jaw is so bunny.
for like a second?
For real.
Need new batteries. You should have just kicked me, Jess.
I'm about to catch you first. You were still running while I was like trying to get a breath.
Well, you never know. It could happen again this summer. We could see all
Oh,
three of you
yeah.
back in action again against each other. What was that like? I've seen you describe it as your proudest moment, but Wales qualifying for the Euros, what was that like?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's really hard to put it into words. I think, I mean, these guys were I don't know, maybe it's different, but I just, I don't know, I've wanted and worked for it for so long, about my whole career, basically. Um, and so many kind of close calls that it is obviously there's like so much emotion and kind of like so much joy in the way it happened, but there was also like a little bit of relief as well, honestly, which was an interesting emotion at the time because I was like, whoa, where's this coming from? This is not what I was expecting to kind of feel as you go through it. um but yeah, just, you know, just incredible. I think what was really nice for me was, obviously it's the end of our season, so I could go home. Obviously we played in Ireland. I stayed in Ireland for like 2 days because my brother lives there. Um, and then went back to Wales. And I guess I never really get to do that because obviously I have to go back to America because we're always in season. Um, So, but it was nice because the country itself, like Cardiff and that, were like they're buzzing off this game, which I'd never really got to see out my own country kind of really get behind the game because I'm always just flying in and flying out and flying in and flying out. Um, so that was pretty cool. Like, I got back and went on a little pub crawl because my season was over. So,
Rightly so.
and like wherever we would be going, everyone would seem to know what was going on. And I was like, wow, this is actually pretty cool, because it was showing how far the game had gone back home for Wales specifically, which was really cool. But yeah, I was feeling loads of different things.
I think the relief part I can kind of relate to first of all, after I won the Champions League and then when we won the Euros, it was like, thank God. Like, when you've got to semi-finals and then you get knocked out and you're thinking, will it ever happen? Like, we've got a good enough team to be able to do it, but we've never really, are we going to be known as the ones that like never really got over the line, even though we had enough quality to? And then the girls was like, how do you feel? Everyone was like happy, buzzing. I was just thinking, nah, I'm just relieved. Like, I feel happy, obviously I'm happy, but the overriding emotion was definitely relief because you're just thinking, will it ever come? And you guys have had obviously a lot of quality players, and you're thinking, how can they come together and finally do something to obviously get to a major tournament? And it's actually crazy that you've got a new manager in Rhian, and it finally happened for us. Like, but I don't. Obviously, she's a good manager, and she's did great for you in the games that she's been there. But I think this was a journey that was happening way longer than obviously her arrival.
I mean, she was she's still there. She is great for us. Um, very different, very Canadian. But was what we needed right at the end, I think, actually. I think she was exactly what we needed to finally get over the line. She's just a little different, carries herself in a different way to how we've always worked, which I think is actually probably what we actually needed. Sometimes you're in clubs and national teams and you get someone in and they work just like you and you're like, oh, this is great. And you kind of really get into being comfortable and then everyone gets in being comfortable. And sometimes that's really nice. But you end up also kind of lacking a little bit in something. Whereas Rhian really bridges the gap between it kind of being nice, but also like it not being nice because of the way that she works. So Rhian's been great for us, but you're right. This has been a journey that has been like I mean, what, almost 20 years for me. And, that is, my journey's been longer than some of the kids' ages in Wales. Like, there's 17-year-olds, and I'm like, well, I've been playing longer than you've existed. This is great. This is great. Everything's okay. But I think that it was about timing. I don't believe in fate and all that, but honestly, maybe I kind of do now, because it was like everything had just kind of come together at the right time and at the right spot, with Wales now finally having pathways that mean that these 17-year-old kids can come and play in the national team, or at least kind of like work it, whereas we've never really had that before because we haven't had the pathways for long enough. And so it was really kind of just like everything is right there. And it aligned, so I mean, that's kind of cool.
That interesting point, Jordan, that Jess said there about having a manager that almost will challenge you when you've had comfort before. Have you experienced that when there's just something you need as a different level, or someone to challenge you in that, and then suddenly you go, right, now it clicks?
I think it's always healthy, sometimes when a new manager comes in, Jess, I don't know if that was with you, like, it does sometimes just give everyone a boost. It can go the other way, but it can go a way where you're like, right, we've got maybe a different standard to hit or level. And I remember watching your game where you qualified, and she was like fighting every ball on the sideline with yous. And, knowing Jess playing against her, I think when you have, sometimes that can annoy you, but sometimes, especially if it's you're playing for your country, it can just give you that kick. And Jess, I think did you come off injured
Yeah.
slightly at the end of that game as well? Yeah, like I can imagine, I don't know if it was more nerve-wracking you being on the pitch, or when you came off for that last bit of time where you're like, oh my God, come on, like, let's get right to the end. But managers can really totally change your team, and clearly that's happened with Wales.
I think it's just I don't want to say a belief thing. I just think she just works in a way that you just really want to like delve into, and you want to buy into it. And managers always say, like, this is what we're doing and you need to buy into it, and if everyone buys into it, then we can win the World Cup, or it's a great saying for managers. But with Rhian, it kind of is like that. Even sometimes, at the very beginning, it was like, we're gonna do this, and I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. Let's go for it. But slowly but surely, like, everyone just was like, yeah, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. And so by the time the playoffs had come in, there really was no, like, everyone was just like a tight knit, like, believing in what we're doing, and everything for the cause type thing. It had taken those qualifying games to get there, but by the time the playoff games had come, we were like all right behind there, and we were like, okay, Rhian, where are we going? And so it was, and I think you could see that in the Ireland game. I think you could see that there was a vast difference between where we were, how together we were, what we were doing, how we were going to get to where we wanted to get to, which ultimately got us over the line, I believe, anyway.
You could see that you're a tight-knit team, to be fair. I think the most, like, joyful thing I seen throughout that whole game was actually the end bit when you run and got Sophie Ingle. And I think to do that in a moment where individually you could have all just gone and celebrated with the players that were obviously on the team, and never thought about those who've helped you actually get there along the journey. And I think that for me was actually the lovely thing to watch, because not many teams would have done that. I'll be honest, I don't think many teams would have done that.
We were saying that with you, Jordan, last week, when you were watching on the England game, and you just like, that was it. You were lost in that moment when they were winning. So it was brilliant. Is that you, Jess? Now, do you think when you look at how well Rhian's done, how she's managing the team, is that sort of manager you want to be and where you want to go? Will we see you managing Wales one day?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I know I get this question a lot, but honestly, I don't know. I feel like I'll take a little time away from the game initially. I mean, when you've been doing it for so long, you kind of just, well, for me anyway, I almost don't want to think about it, you know. Um, when I eventually hang up my boots, I know that I'm not gonna want to think about football for a while. Um, but I do think I'll end up finding my way back to the game because I love it. Um, but in what capacity, I don't know. I mean, maybe coaching, maybe like a GM role, maybe like a sporting director. I feel like I would thrive a little bit in those areas. Um, because I just don't know if I could trust myself on the sideline, honestly. I feel like I'm just being honest, like, I just don't. I would probably get in trouble, like, all of the time, and so it's probably safe for me to, help the coaches, not be a coach. But we'll see, like, I might finish the game and be like, "No, I wanna get back into that," but we'll see.
That noise in the background is the sound of every TV company demanding that you're made a manager because they'd love to see those
Yeah,
moments.
I bet.
For yeah, for all three of you, and I'm not writing any of you off yet because I know there's plenty more football in all of your legs, but you must be thinking about what happens next. And I don't know how that makes you feel. Like, is there anxiety around that, or do you do that? Do you try and push it to the back and think my body will tell me, and so I'll worry about it then, or do you try and prepare for what could happen next?
You have to start thinking about it, but I think it is scary, especially us three have been in it for so long, and I think people they look at the moments you're playing now, but they forget about the 17, 18 years you've done before that, the traveling, the commitment, and it's a bit like what Jess said about going straight into coaching. That is really tough because you've gone from every day traveling and then, you go straight back into it. You're kind of in a burnout stage, but it definitely is, like you said, none of us are writing ourselves off, but you have to start thinking about that now. It's a really weird mindset because I think we're all really competitive and we'd love to play football for even longer. But you have to take them things into account. And it is very strange to start to turn your mindset into, I still want to play football and be at the highest level, but you have to be realistic with coming to the end of like nearer to the end of your career.
Yeah, I do agree with that, Jord. I think the hard thing about football is when you get to 30, everyone thinks it's you should retire. Like for so many players, yeah, it's insane because you can see throughout the game that the more the game's evolved, the stronger obviously sports science and everything's become. Nutritional professionalism, everyone's that means the game you can play it for longer. Like say 20 years ago, especially in the women's game, maybe you didn't have that support to be able to carry on your career for as long as you want. And I think Farrah Williams always said to me, you'll know when the time's right. Like you'll know it within yourself. Don't put age, don't put a number on, but put no psychologically, physically. You will know when your body says, you know what, I can no longer compete to the level that I want, and that's the difference. Some people's quality and technical ability can allow them to play the game for as long as they want because they're always one step ahead anyway. Like so many people talk about the physical output of football, but football is about the brain. It's how you see the game, how it's not about how far you can run, but how smart you can work. And that's what people forget. But once you get to 30, everyone like you can't run no more. But you still see Ronaldo playing at 38, 39, doing whatever because his technical ability and his game understanding and everything is so much more advanced than someone who can run, you know, for 90 minutes and barely pass a ball for 20% of the time. It's just different. And I think that's what's important about the next generation, or even our generation, understanding that, you know, you can go for as long as you want, as long as you've still got that hunger, that drive, that passion. You can go for as long as you want. Don't allow someone else to tell you when your time's over, and also don't allow a number to do that also.
I think it's obviously it's safe to say the oldest one of the three of us. um, I I think it's honestly, I think it's bananas in the women's game. I don't even know if I don't think it's as bad in the men's game anymore. I think in the women's game over the last 12 to 18 months we've gone, well, you know what? I don't think anybody over 30 can actually move anymore, can think anymore, can pass anymore, and they've just decided to be like, if you're over 30, you're a goner. But I've got a hot take, guys. Okay, so I'm just gonna say it. I've been doing the research, not actual research, just mind research for the last like 5 years. Obviously, like I speak to Kimbo, like really good friend of mine, and speak to a lot of people like all over. Pino had just retired, you know, and she was 38 when she finished, but she was like still top, top, top. I actually think your prime is like between 30, in the range between like 29 and 33, 30, 34. Now, I like to your point, kids. I think that before everyone was like, your prime is 26, and I was always like, no, it's not. It's not 26. You're too young. Then your game is not matured enough on the field, right? You might be able to, like you say, run 10 miles every other day, which is great. That's very good for you. But like your game, understanding your game's decisions, you know, how do you manage it, things like that, which you always get from experience, right? You always say, oh, the experienced players coming on now, they're going to know how to manage the game, they're going to communicate, they're going to organize, they're going to do all the stuff that you don't see, right? Which is all of the important things, let's be clear. And so, you know, now when I see people kind of playing and playing club and playing country, you know, I kind of am just like when they hit 30, actually that's when their whole game, like holistically, actually goes to another level. Um and it's probably when they're at their best, and they might not even know it. But I, for sure, over the last 5 years with my mental research, have absolutely seen players within that realm just be so much calmer, so much better. Obviously, their quality is never goes anywhere. You know, your quality is either high or your quality is not high. There's no kind of like in between. You know what I mean? Like you can do absolutely you want, like, and so um, it's funny when I see these clubs having this like age policy, because I just think to myself, you're actually like missing players in their absolute prime, and I don't understand that. And I can say that because like I'm 38, right? And that's like 8 years of the world basically saying you're too old to play. But in those 8 years, I have achieved the highest level of accolades throughout my entire career. All has been in those 8 years, right? And so won Champions League MVP, qualified for Euros, right? All over 30. So if I was playing now, I wouldn't have been able to achieve any of it, because people would be like, no, she's too old, bro, she can't play. But actually, I was at my best throughout those years. And I've seen that, like I said, Pino was the same. Like I've just seen it with my own eyeballs. And so to your point, like I think I don't know where this blanket kind of decision has come from, or like who decided to send some kind of group global email in women's sports. But we need to like call it back, you know, and you can call emails back. We need to call that email back, because I think a lot of people are missing the trick here.
Yeah, I definitely think they're giving the game a disservice.
Yeah.
But also, For the longest time when I played for Everton, we were so young as a team, and we couldn't learn. Like, we didn't develop because kids can't learn from kids.
No.
It's just impossible because you're all making mistakes at different times, and one game you're making mistakes, the next game someone else. So you never really get any type of rhythm. And as you said, I do agree. The more experienced players have so much more game understanding and are able to organise the team because they've got experience, yeah. But at the same time, it's a quality to be able to do that. People think it's it's like a given that you are able to, come on in a game and organize and know what the game needs in that moment. People think, oh, in 5 years that player will have it too. No, they won't. It's not a given.
Obviously, like, kids coming through now, they're at a different level, you probably say, to when we were growing up. I hate to put you in my age brackets, but let's just roll with it. And, um, and I actually get that, like, I see that, like, they're developing a lot faster. Um, but in order for them to, like, follow a development plan, both mentally, emotionally, and kind of, like, football-wise, they have to be in an environment where, like, they're just gonna have to make mistakes. They have to. That's the only way they're gonna learn, and they have to make those mistakes not only in training, but in games. And the best way for those kids to learn is to be able to go out there and just play freely, basically, because that's the best way they're gonna learn, and the kind of only real way that happens is the older players then kinda take all the rest of the responsibility. Like, that's their job at that point. And so, like for me, like when I'm playing here or even in Wales for a long time, you just take so much of the responsibility because you're like, I really need you to learn. And you're only going to learn faster if you can just come out here and just play and be so raw. Because the feelings that you're going to feel if you miss a chance or if you do this, that's going to make you learn. Me telling you, do this, do this, do this without feeling it it's not the same. Because then once you feel the situation that you're in and you miss it, or, you get tackled or you can't do your 1v1s or whatever, you take that feeling onto the training field and then that's what you're learning because you felt it. If you don't feel it in a game-like situation, the development side of that then is really difficult. So they've got to go into games and they've just got to be like, I always say to the young ones, don't worry about anything. Just be you, play a game, don't overthink anything, and we'll pick up everything else around that. We'll, delay the space behind you. We'll deal with the counter press. Like, don't worry about it. But like 5 days later already with these players, I've seen a massive shift because they can just, they're not overthinking and they don't have to yet. Maybe at 30, well, yeah. Well, now you have to do the same thing for the younger ones coming through as like a conveyor belt. But you're not going to get it without both, to your point, Keith. Like, you're going to bring the kids in now, right? But the kids are going to have to learn and they need help, And so saying to people, we're not going to get any people who are over 30 is just, it's crazy to your developmental plan anyway. You just
Yeah.
doesn't make sense, Sorry,
I think there's no, not at all. I think there's situations we've spoken about it with the benefit of taking someone like Nikita or Jordan with England as well, and what you would bring to those younger players coming through. Jordan, the struggles that Villa have had this season, I think they wouldn't get out of it without the experience of you, Rachel Corsie, of others around there saying to the younger players, it's going to be all right and we're going to get out of it. It's so important, that experience in that. But we have plenty to rattle through. We've had loads of questions to come through for you, Jess Fishlock, as always, for you, Nikita and Jordan. So we'll get to them after this. Jess Fishlock with us this week from Pitch to Pod. Loads of questions. I'll do some quick fire ones for you, Jess, if you can handle it. Normally we ask you what's in your fridge, but it's 8 o'clock in the morning where you are now. Are you anywhere near your fridge?
No.
Yeah, don't do it.
No.
Don't lower yourself to my levels.
It's fine. Either.
It's fine. Fine. I can handle it. Right. Favorite teammate to sit on the coach with?
Oh,
International or a club?
honestly, Rachel Rowe International because this girl is wild. So she always makes me laugh. And then Lauren Barnes at club.
Are you back of the bus crew?
At club, I'm like front of the bus, but at Wales,
Oh, of
yeah,
course you are.
yeah,
Yeah. Sensible with club, with Wales, whatever.
yeah,
Favorite pre-match
exactly.
meal?
Pre-match meal is bacon and eggs and some hash browns.
Really? For pre-match? Does that
Yeah.
like sit on your
Mhm.
gut? It would sit on my. Well, it's the size of my
No,
gut. You've got no
what
gut
do you
for it to
mean? I
sit
mean,
on.
sometimes I'll throw a bit of pancakes in there as well, you know.
No.
Well, pre-match, what are you on about? What do you guys eat? Chicken and pasta?
No.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Bolognese.
Yeah.
Bolognese. No,
Chicken and
I'm not
pasta.
really a routine person though. I'll just eat whatever. Like sometimes I'll have pasta, sometimes I'll have eggs. Don't really bother me.
Yeah.
Porridge mainly.
I can't
Actually.
eat a lot, honestly, before a game. It's not, I'm not a big eater game day.
Ugh. Go-to karaoke song.
Yeah, Tina Turner, yeah.
Oh. Anything by Tina.
Listen, I do love Teens. She was my the first concert I went to watch was Tina. Shout out to Shaz taking me to watch the Queen. So yeah, any song by Tina. What's Love Got to Do with It is a classic, obviously.
Well, what has love got to do with it? Nikita, what was your first concert you went to?
Oh, The Script with Alex Greenwood.
Yeah, it's not as cool. Jordan?
Not a clue. I feel like I went to like a summertime ball or something, you know, where like The Wanted and that were there.
One
I
Direction.
mean, how old are you? You sound like you're teenagers at this point. The Wanted and The Script.
Yeah,
I
first
was
ever.
about
Yeah,
Like
you'd have been
you
like
don't take, like your
15.
ma didn't take you nowhere. No, I'm not calling your mothers out here. I'm just asking, like,
you're pulling shots out to my mum there.
no.
Nah,
What
she
I'm
never.
saying is, were you not
It's a bad
taken?
mum, that
Were you
one.
not taken younger by a member of family?
To be fair,
Concerts wasn't
Tina's
even a
pretty
thing
impressive.
nowadays, is it?
Yeah, no, I don't really
Yeah,
think we
Tina's
did either.
unreal.
I know.
Yeah, Tina's
I'd love
like,
to go.
oh my God,
Clearly, what
who went
happened
there?
was my mum really wanted to go. Clearly,
Yeah,
Mm.
and she just thought,
and
come
she
on,
was
I need
like,
someone.
"I got the kids," and most people would be like, "Oh, I can't go," but my mum was like, "No, you're coming with me. Come on, let's go. Plaza Butte Park." Yeah.
Oh, Cardiff as well.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Good old Tina. And we've had loads of these are an array of questions that we've had from everyone, but loads. I'll go with Izzy, who's asked this. Your favourite football moment in your career so far?
Guys, obviously qualifying for the Euros it's just there. It's up there. It'll be up there forever.
From pitch to pod, every week from now to the end of the season, we're picking a different area of the pitch and picking our midfielder of the season so far. Jess, you don't have to pick. Nikita and Jordan will pick theirs, and then you can agree if you want to. Yeah. Last week we did goalkeepers, so you haven't got to do that just yet. Let's go with you first, Jordan. Who's been your standout midfielder in the WSL this season, and why? And you can't pick yourself.
We're probably gonna have the same one again, aren't we? Maybe. Mine is Caldente. I mean, Jesus, what a player! Like, touches on the ball, her awareness. I mean, the way she roams around the pitch, but does it just so easily. For Arsenal, she's just been unbelievable this season. I mean, yeah, what she does is just a dream of a midfielder, really. And I mean, to start taking penalties and have like the option of Kim or her is like, I mean, it kind of shows both their talents, doesn't it? But yeah, Caldente has just been the goals she scored this season so important. And I think we always appreciate like the first touch and pace of pass as a midfielder. She's definitely got that.
Well, we did kind of have the same, to be honest. But I feel like this position has got a few people who need to have a little shout out, to be fair. I think Hasagawa at Manchester City deserves praise because she makes that team tick. I think Hayashi at Everton has had a really good first season in the WSL. It's not easy coming into the WSL. And Erin Cuthbert, because that girl, every blade of grass, she covers differently. And I think her and Caldente are two different midfielders. So what you can appreciate with Caldente on the ball, off the ball, you have to appreciate for Erin because she breaks up play, she creates attack, she scores goals this season, important goals. So yeah, but Caldente. And I will say that her being able to have a free role at Arsenal is because of the likes of Kim Little behind her, who does mop up and allows her to take that forward role, because Kim now has sat back more as a six in the last couple of years, which has really helped Arsenal's midfield because it's been young and it's also been inexperienced in the WSL. So she's had to play with players around her that are not used to the WSL, also got a youth on the side, but still is able to consistently do her role very, very well and goes unnoticed a lot of the time because she's allowed others to take, the more attacking role in the team. But yeah, I think Caldente has got to be midfielder of the season. Yeah, I have to agree, George.
Jess, you getting to watch much of it?
I don't get to watch much of it unless I'm on the East Coast. Whenever we travel on the East Coast, we always get to watch WSL games because of the time difference. But in Seattle on the West Coast, it's really, really hard. I try and watch it because I've watched a couple of over the years just because I'm a big Kim Little fan, obviously. And Sophie Ingle fan too, so Chelsea. And so I try to follow those two teams. Not because of the teams, unfortunately. I'm being very American right now. I'm just following like two players.
You
But
changed.
That's
yeah,
all right.
I do try to follow, yeah. But I haven't really this year, so I can't really pick any players, guys, because I'm just gonna do like a favorites thing, and I just honestly I loathe people that do that, so I'm not gonna be one of those people.
I'll do it for you. Kim Little then. So we've got I think you're both kind of agreed on Caldente, although I think there are games Chelsea would not have won without Erin Cuthbert and the way she's
Yeah,
driven them forward.
I think that is the same as last week with Hannah Hampton and Fallon. It's
Yeah.
tough to pick one because, they've both done really well for the teams. So it is tough, but
I'll let
we've
you both
chose.
off. Right, Jess, before we let you go, you are in your season. How's it going? What first attracted you to Seattle, the home of culture, of nice weather when it comes, of Starbucks? Over 200 appearances now as well, isn't it? How's it all going?
Yeah, it's good, I think we're definitely going through a transition at the moment of kind of bringing youth through. Obviously, the year before last, we lost a lot of experience, which was tough. We lost Pino and Sonnet and Rose all at the same time, which was just a really tough situation. We just like really lost our core. And so we kind of I've had to try and build from that again, kind of from scratch, really. And so I think last year was really between that and getting the new ownership. It was just really just like there was completely separate from Wales. There was really not much aligning going on, whilst everybody was trying to figure out and navigate our situation. But this year, I feel really really positive about kind of what we're doing as a club and as a team, and where we're going and what our thought process is and how we're going to get there. Like, I see all of it, which is always nice. I don't know, you guys know when you go and you kind of have a process and of an end goal and how you're going to get there. Sometimes you kind of fall away to the wayside a little bit. But I definitely see, that the steps there's to where we want to be. I definitely see that in what we're doing, and I think that's really exciting. I like it when that happens. So yeah, I'm excited for the year. Should be fun.
Do has there been a massive shift in, obviously the NWSL has become more visible for people outside of America, so have you seen a different way of playing for some teams? Because obviously if you look over the years, it's been more of a direct type of league, transitional. But now, if you watch some games, some more teams are starting to play. And Emma Hayes has said that that's what she needs for her American team, for the national team, that they play more. Have you seen that shift?
Yeah, I think honestly, I'm gonna have another hot take here. Just love them. I feel I feel like it is more of a stereotypical statement than what I would say that the truth of what kind of happens actually happens. I definitely feel over the last 5 years that there has been shifts within what clubs are trying to do or what teams are trying to do. I actually would say that I think there are more teams now that probably actually overplay than kind of like go long or whatever it is, or direct or whatever. I think, that what is not stereotypical and what is correct is how fast the kind of defense to attack transition is over here. Like it is a lightning, it is unforgiving, it is the worst. It is the worst and the best thing in the world. The best thing if it's you, the worst thing if it's against you. Um, but the truth is that I actually think that is a mindset thing that the Americans will never lose. And I think it's what is the mindset of what makes them so great is they win it and they don't care where they are. They just know that you're at your weakest and they are going to go and hurt you. Like that is just how they kind of think, which obviously doesn't happen all the time. But I definitely, see a massive shift. Even with us, like last year, we went way into like overplaying, and I was like, guys, I love this, but like it's also just not super effective in kind of what we want to do. You have to find a balance, I think. Every team, I think, unless you're probably Barcelona, is, you got to find the balance between like purposeful possession, goals, creating, and just kind of passing for the sake of passing. And once any team kind of finds that, then they seem to be pretty successful. And so I definitely have seen a shift, but I think I've seen a shift in the last 5 years at least. I don't think it's been recent. I mean, there's so many of these teams that really do, sometimes play like a lot, like they overplay, like you can press the hell out of them. And that's what's so fun, I think, that I really enjoy about this league is each team has a real clear kind of identity, and you have to go into each game like trying to counteract that, whilst also knowing that within that, any of these teams can hurt you badly on like a transition, for example, because every team has that mentality no matter what. And so, there's the transition side of it, and then there's everything else. And the everything else is really dependent on who your coach is. Washington Spirit have a Spanish coach now. We have a lot of British coaches over here. We've had a lot of British coaches over here for years. So it just depends what style your coach wants, right? Like honestly, that's just the way that it is. And so answer to your question, yes, but it's been a shift for a lot longer period of time, for sure.